corruption in there, here and there,
Oh, yeah.
peeking out, but it's not as great of a degree. Now, here's something else most people don't know as far as like money crime and money issues. We have the biggest stratification here in the U.S. than we've ever had before, I believe.
Mm.
Okay, we're actually one of the top two wealthiest countries. The second is Norway. Okay, they have one of the least stratification list. But they have the same wealth as the U.S. So that means the poorest in Norway are far better off than the poorest in the U.S. Isn't that interesting? Because they're just as wealthy. They have almost equal wealth. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I got that from The Spirit Level by Richard Wilkinson. He actually showed the wealth of specifically the exact amount of wealth between Norway and everybody else and the U.S. U.S. Norway are like literally almost identical. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's strange that that you bring up specifically Norway, because when you were speaking about the different prison, was it in Scandinavia that you said?
Sweden.
Sweden.
Scandinavia is the group of islands. It's that country group.
All right, yeah. Because when you were mentioning about that, it reminded me of there's a well, it was one of the deleted scenes from Michael Moore's film Sicko, where he goes to like the different countries to basically explore like their healthcare systems. And for part of the documentary, he actually goes to Norway and he basically goes round and sees about their prison system, and and supposedly it's like so so far in the right direction. It's unbelievable. I mean, there's a video you can yeah, I mean because on the DVD for the documentary there's it's actually entitled "Is Norway a Utopia?" And it describes, because he basically lists off these different socioeconomic benefits of being a Norwegian citizen. That I think things like maternity leave, you get like a full year of maternity leave, and
that is awesome.
But it was specifically when it comes to the prison system that it's more or less, it's like I think it's like a separate island, but the inmates, as it were, are put through like rehabilitative experiences and enriching education and all that sort of thing, and they find that as a result they're as people they're far less violent. Now, I'm not sure exactly how accurate this was. I mean, you can find it on YouTube if you actually look for what a prison in an RBE would look like, or something similar to that. But that's basically the special feature up there, and it's strange that you say that Norway is almost like identically as stratified as the US.
No. They have the same amount of money, but the stratification in Norway is a lot less. Than the US.
Yeah. Sorry, my mistake.
That's what I said.
All right, yeah, because I was thinking to myself, well, wait. There's stuff about Norway that I was like, because I was like thinking, is that actually true? No, it's cool. I just didn't listen properly. That's what. But yeah, I mean, I guess we've been talking for like over 3 hours now, so I guess we should like sort of like wrap this up. Is there anything else? Any other sort of caveats that you wanted to go into?
There was, but I can't. It's a bit much right now, so let's just close it down for now, and then if we can pick up some other time, that'll be great.
Yeah. I mean, there's
a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, there's one of the announcements at the beginning that I actually forgot to mention was I'm thinking of doing a live podcast.
Yeah, I heard last time.
Yeah, December next year, probably doing like some sort of like roundtable discussion with a Google Hangout or something.
I
And
wouldn't mind joining.
but yeah, you're more than welcome to join, dude. I mean, there's as many as people as possible. That would be great. But
All right, no problem.
so yeah, I guess we've been going on with this topic for
Forever.
3 hours.
Yeah.
So if people wanted to find out even more, where would you say are some good places for people to look for like proper objective information about the issue of violence?
Okay. For history wise, as well as psychology and all that stuff, I suggest going on YouTube and typing in crash course, and you'll get, it's two brothers, it's John Green and something Green. It's a younger brother. One does the scientific stuff, one does the history and literature stuff, and it's very interesting. They're like anywhere between 9 to like 13 minutes a video, but it's a lot of information, and they go through a lot of stuff, and you can look it up on top of that. So that's one thing for historical and scientific reasons. I would also check out the documentary War, which, yeah, that's a good one to watch, as well as check out Crisis of Civilization, and if you want to see solutions for things and technical solutions for a lot of our problems, will work for free.
Oh
It's
yes,
a good one to watch.
yeah, that's a definitely a documentary. That's been getting I
That's
think
powerful.
hundreds of thousands of different views. I mean,
Yeah.
I downloaded the an MP3 version of it because I downloaded the YouTube version and converted it to MP3, put that on my phone, and I know that whenever I listen to it, I'm going to have 2 hours of like awesome information, and especially because most documentaries when specifically if they also apply over here, they're mainly made in the United States, especially in terms of like technology. But Sam Vallely done a brilliant job of making it relatable to an English audience. Because one of the things that I found like really interesting is when he talked about Game going bankrupt. Because a couple of years back, I used to work for Game and Game Station because both stores they're owned under the same company, and them going bust in 2012. That was part of the reason for why I'm not still working for them today, because how they do their recruiting is they take on a bunch of temporary workers and they say, okay, you're all competing over like 1 or 2 permanent positions. That's how they do that's how they employ new staff. And there was like 17 of us, and all of us were competing for like 1 permanent position.
Yeah.
And like mid-November.
Competition is something we didn't cover. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. But yeah, we're all competing for this 1 position, and then like mid-November, like early December, we were told, and I quote, "Due to restructuring at head office, the permanent position doesn't exist anymore." So we were all competing and all sort of like brown nosing the management and doing our best to do as much as we possibly could for Game and like sell as much shit as possible, all for nothing. We were being paid, but ultimately for nothing. And watching Will work for free, it sort of, I was like, that's why they were doing it. But anyway, sorry for that example. If you want to go back on to
yeah, it's cool. There's another movie which I think many of us have seen, Monty Python's Holy Grail. If people think about a lot of the different skits in there, think about the social consciousness in it. My favorite has to be the peasant skit where they're autonomous, but then King Arthur says he's their king, and
the constitutional peasant.
Yes. I suggest everybody, if you want to at least check that part of it, go on YouTube and go to Monty Python peasant skit, and that should bring it up. It's only about 2 minutes or so, but it's very interesting how they threw in all the conditions of our society into a big ass joke during the medieval times. But in fact, I would suggest, if I may, suggest doing that as an activist review.
Hmm.
That would be interesting because there's a lot of points in there.
Hmm.
I mean, it's up to you though.
Yeah. So would you say is there anything else that you would recommend people to expose themselves to?
Yes. The book called Cancer States of Capitalism by John McMurtry. I would check out on YouTube. Check out Gabor Mate, James Gilligan, which he doesn't have many videos, but check him out. Check out Behavioral Biology with Robert Sapolsky on YouTube. It's a course on the Stanford subscriber page.
Hmm.
It's 25 lectures, but it's worth it.
Yeah, I every now and then I think about like trying to, because I haven't made my way all the way through all those. I think I got to like number 9 or something, but it's just so heavy going, and that
Oh my God, it's awesome. But yeah. I've watched about 8.5 times.
All the way through.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, I need to get around to doing that. But yeah, that's just that's just indicative that there are so many ways that our digital age is starting to outmode traditional education, where you have Harvard University having a YouTube channel where they have entire semesters worth of lectures, man. It's unbelievable.
That's what the behavior biology course is. It's a whole semester of classes. There's only 2 he did audio, which is not up there, and 1 he totally stopped for whatever reasons there were, but it's still worth it. But an easier way to absorb that information is to go to Crash Course and watch the biology lecture, watch the psychology lecture, and it does help. That it's all that, but cramped down, and it's a lot easier to absorb. And in some cases, it's funny.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say the things that I would recommend in terms of if you want to learn about violence and especially in terms of society, I would recommend Extraordinary Delusions and the Madness of Crowds. That's an extremely interesting book. I got the audiobook version of it, which was pretty cool.
Who's the author?
I can't remember the author of that one. I think it might have been something Charles Mackay. I think it's Charles Mackay who wrote that one. And also, just for violence itself, there's so many books that that Dr. James Gilligan has written about the topic of violence. I mean, most of them have the sort of like initial, title violence, and then sort of subheadings. So they're mostly called violence something. But I would recommend any book by him. But I mean, I guess if people want to get the sort of abridged version of all of what we've been saying here, there is a very interesting video that was made by Aaron Moritz, a guy who I've interviewed on a prior episode of this podcast. The video itself is called Violence, the Delusion of Justice. And it's about a 17-minute video, but it is damn good. It basically just goes over all these sort of things.
Oh my God, it's so precise too.
Yeah, and I mean that's
really good.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have Aaron on the show, because he's got that really good.
He's talented. That's a bad term. He's very good at what he does with his videos.
Yeah,
I'm used to hearing talented so much. It's like, no, that's not true, and here I am saying it.
Yeah. well, yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that
it's knee jerk.
Yeah, I mean, it's a norm in our society to use terms, sometimes without thinking them, because there's no because we recognise that there's no real such thing as talent per se, because any kind of skill that is called a talent is still a skill that is learned.
Yes.
It's just a matter of, person
they pick
A.
it up easier. They pick it up easier than some other people. That doesn't make it a talent. It's just they learned it quicker. That's it.
Yeah, it's like person A has been subject to more experiences that enable them to culminate that kind of skill than, say, person B. But no, I mean, there's those are the media bits and pieces that I would recommend the audience to check out if they wanted to check out about violence. But I mean, is there anything else that you wanted to put in there, Michael? Yes.
If you want to start bridging gaps between countries, let's learn their languages. So I would suggest people go to languagepod101.com. There, it doesn't have every language, but it has a lot of the major ones. That includes the Scandinavians. You got some Europe stuff. You have one for India. You got some Asian languages. So that should help a lot. Languagepod101.com.
Fantastic. So basically, this just to announce for the sponsors, this podcast has been sponsored by Hear No Evil, See No Evil, the device that enables you to block out all those pesky elements of reality that can stomp on your consumer habits. So we want to be able to keep this economy going. So really consider going to www.hnesne.com/AAUTZM and enter the code name DUMBFUCK. That's one word spelled DUMBFUCK. That's that word. And take advantage of that wonderful offer. This podcast was also brought to you by Russell Brand. So thank you very much, Russell, for those. Well, admittedly, those wet plastic bags of cash that you send me that I have to keep drying on the radiator. But thank you very much for that. And I urge everyone who's listening to this to send a Facebook message, send a tweet, send, a smoke signal, whatever you need to send to thank Russell for sponsoring this podcast, because he has agreed that he will spare at least 10 minutes on this show to talk about science and sustainability. And this podcast was also brought to you by Caroline Lucas. So thank you very much, Caroline, for sending those carrier pigeons. I'm going to see if I can do something about my neighbour who keeps shooting those pigeons down. But I would urge everyone to find a way to contact Caroline Lucas as well, to thank her profusely for sponsoring AAUTZM podcast, because she said that she will spare at least 10 minutes on this show to talk about science and sustainability. But yeah, that's been our podcast. So from me, it's a goodbye. And if you want to, I'll leave the floor to you, Michael, to give a few final thoughts to wrap up.
Final thoughts. Buy those headsets. Buy. And as for buy, I'll see you guys later.
Thanks very much, guys. Take care.